some of the snow removal that they, were used to having in there, and it was challenging for the residents out there to make their way in and out. It was unsafe, icy intersections and icy roadways. Obviously, the village has equipment that, can handle and take care of the snow removal properly through there. All other services are normal through there. There's curbside garbage and recycling pickup. There's storm sewer throughout. We treat the stormwater in 2 different locations within there. I guess tonight we would just be looking at making sure the village board would be on board with the concept of the dedication of this and the procedure that goes with it. Before we would spend any money or move forward with it, we want to make sure everybody's in agreement that the committee is recommending this to be dedicated to the village, and that you guys would accept that.
I like that you looked into the road, Andy, and saw that it's still got 5-10 years left at least.
Yep,
And snowplows fit.
yep.
It looks like they looked at everything, and
Yeah, one extra thing I'll throw in there too is the trail that goes around the perimeter of the Whisper Ridge subdivision. We will extend that. You can kind of see the edge of it on the north end of the map up there. So we're dredging that pond this year as well. So we're going to dredge that pond, rip wrap the banks of it, make it look nice. And then we're going to extend that trail. If you guys are familiar with it, it kind of dead ends back in that pond or behind that pond. We're going to extend that back up to the new road right of way, so that people can kind of make a loop through there versus having to stop and turn around. Obviously, it was private prior, so there was reasons not to extend it up to a private drive, but now that'll become a public roadway, we can encourage people to use it.
and the trail is already there, and the part that you're completing is very small.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Yep.
I'm sure the residents would prefer a loop rather than a dead end into a wet pond anyway. I think this all makes sense, and I think that, when you look at this, here you've got an example of, mixed-use development, very successful.
Is this what you're calling R2? It wouldn't have to all be
We haven't, I don't think.
rentals, it could be condos.
No, I don't think that's been defined yet.
Yeah,
That
We
would have
cannot
to-
regulate ownership, so it would not be defined in any
but it
code
could be,
changes.
right?
It's up to the developers. We cannot regulate
Mm-hmm.
ownership.
Okay.
That definition would have to come back to the board as part of the R1, R2, R3 when it comes back.
Steve, what are the lot sizes approximately in here?
There isn't, it's a condo development, so there are no specific lots. There's X number of units within that
sure,
development, but
That's like 60 feet.
Looks pretty.
So what are we
Yes.
looking at today? Are we looking at saying, yeah, go forward with this and make it happen? Or are we looking at saying are you looking for us to say, yeah,
We support
let's
the
look into it.
I would
and
look
dig
for a
into it and
motion
then bring
to
back
approve the concept of the acceptance of the roadway and right-of-way improvements, so that the cost of all the attorney fees and the amending the plat and the declaration is gonna come at a cost, so before we incur that and the HOA pays for all that, we don't wanna bring that back then and you guys maybe not like it then, so we wanna be confident in what we're moving forward with.
Right, so basically what we're saying to you is, you know what, if we feel this way.
Yep.
We like the idea.
Yep.
Dig into it, find out if there's any skeletons in the closet that you haven't seen yet. Bring those back for final approval.
Yeah, they'll write up the agreement and bring it back.
Yep,
Okay,
This supports our residents too, so.
yeah,
Everybody agree?
I'm happy to make a motion
Yeah.
on this.
Yep, go ahead.
I'd like to make the motion that we accept the concept of accepting the right-of-way and roadway improvement dedication from the Wisteria, did I pronounce that correctly?
yep,
Excellent Circle HOA/development.
So motion from trustee Romas to move forward with the concept of accepting the right-of-way and roadway improvement dedication from the Wisteria Circle Homeowners Association development. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Andrews. Any other further questions or discussion on this matter? Okay, hearing none. This is one we can just vote on, I guess. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thanks for your patience. Oh, yeah, please do. Sorry. Just provide your name and address.
Jim Botts, 2036-2 Wisteria Circle. And this really kind of goes back to the commission presentation. I do think we have a model development here for high-density type homeowners. I did a little research. Right just south of us in the general subdivision area, the taxes paid on a per-foot basis of street is around $55 a foot. We're paying anywhere from 75 to 117 per foot. So the taxes being generated per foot of road is really high. And I think that's probably where you guys want to be, with a portion of your homeownership going forward. So appreciate your support, and we'll look forward to working with Andy here and pulling this together. So,
Can I ask a quick question?
yeah.
Okay, so since you're in that area, you could maybe answer the question I'd asked Mr. Dunks. What would one of these condos sell for?
We just had one go on the market. It was sold in one day for $445,000.
Okay, thank you.
Two-bedroom condo.
All right, you're not on the agenda.
Lot sizes.
We'll get you on in 2 weeks.
Lot sizes for the twindos, we call them, the duplexes are about 70 feet. And we're down to about 50 in some cases for the single houses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Make sure that information is in the notes, and make sure that's shared with planning and zoning when we start to figure this out.
That they have.
Well, I
some for
would
sale.
be all for more things like that, definitely.
That's exactly right, if it's planned.
All right, speaking of planned, let's move on to item C this evening, which is the amendment to the four-way parking agreement. Administrator Kaker.
Thank you. The village entered into a development agreement with Four-Way Bar LLC in April of 2017. This agreement included the requirement that the developer dedicate an easement to the village for public parking. Last fall, the developer requested permission to extend their premise with a deck that would encroach on the existing parking lot easement and remove the motorcycle parking area along with 3 handicap stalls. An amendment was drafted by the village attorney, which would allow for the deck to be constructed. It also requires the developer to stripe 3 new handicap stalls and a motorcycle area at their expense. Copy of the amendment was included in your packet. It was also reviewed by Jamie. And I did forget, there is a separate agreement with the developer of Station 1 Brewery, who is agreeing to these terms, because when we initially did the development agreement with Station 1, we said, hey, here's the certain area that you're going to be allowed to do public parking. That agreement is drafted. We'll put it on the next agenda. No real rush on that, but that'll also have to happen, so you'll see that at the next meeting. But Jamie did look at this current agreement for his development, and we're looking for a motion by the board to either move to approve or reject this first amendment to the TID number 2.
For the sake of the record, could you tell us who Jamie is?
Jamie Whiting is the developer of the Four-Way Bar LLC.
Thank you.
All right, other questions or comments? If there are none, we could certainly look for a motion.
I'll offer a motion to approve the First Amendment to TID 2 Development Agreement Four-Way Bar LLC.
Thank you. Trustee McKeefery has offered a motion to approve the amendment to the four-way parking agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Andrews, much to the disappointment of trustee Romas. Are there any other further comments or questions? Well, let's finish the night with one last roll call.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery.
Aye.
Trustee Gomez.
As an avid supporter of the First Amendment, I vote aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you.
Do we have to pay extra for that?
You did, yeah.
All right, item 11, discussion on future agenda items. Anyone?
I would like to start drilling down a little bit into, we talk a little bit here and talk a little bit there about the issue with the budget and the plans and things like that. I think might be good to have maybe 10 minutes set aside every other meeting or something, just to kind of talk about where we stand or different ideas, or it's not a very good suggestion for an idea in the future, because I don't have it like squared away as to what I'm saying exactly, but I think we need to start talking more and more about it as a board, so that we get ahead of this properly and effectively.
Would you include in that, like, your perspective, the challenges we've got with this levy limit?
Yeah.
And conversations, Alex, you and I talked, is there like lobbying at the state level to try to adjust and change, modify some of this legislation? To include that in some of that discussion?
Absolutely, and the thought process might be is, like at the end of the meeting, 5 minutes of ideas or concepts or thoughts or whatever.
Does that have to be on the agenda, though? That probably should be.
If you want to talk about it as a board, yes, you need something on the
Yeah.
agenda,
Well, we could be in violation.
or you could be in violation, sure.
We don't have to.
No,
Oh, okay, he says no.
no violation.
But the time limit has to be within reason.
I think it should be 5 minutes. I think it should be like, we should hold it to 5 minutes.
Okay.
And if it goes longer than that, then we say, this is a bigger conversation, because I'll just say, we have the budget meeting, and I'm gonna use up the rest of the 5 minutes right now in this. Okay, I'll get up.
It's not on the agenda.
But we have the budget meeting every year where we spend 8 hours looking at the budget. And we've got this cliff 3 years down the road, and there may be a point where we get enough of these 5-minute things together, we say, you know what, let's spend an hour.
I think you're gonna get pieces of that as we move forward, right? As we move forward, the planning and zoning made the commitment that they're gonna come back to this board with some definitions on R1, R2, R3. That's gonna open that up.
Yeah.
Once that definition is created, and once there is something that, and the board has input in it, what you're talking about, the budget and levy limits, and that might be part of what goes into that. So my suggestion is, I think we keep your idea, and I think we keep generating this. Let's see what takes place with this planning and zoning, because I think you're gonna get some additional direction out of it.
I like that idea. What I'm attempting to do here is remove a silo, right? So we silo into this thing today, which was good information. And then that part from the levy limits is brought in. What I'm trying to do is say, you know what, we're gonna remove the silo, we're gonna talk about this as a group. And, everything's on the table then. We're looking
What's
at
the
whole-
actual year you're redoing the plan?
26.
20,
The comp plan?
yeah,
26.
okay. So we're just talking about it for a whole year?
Well, you don't have to. I mean, in theory, you can always pass an ordinance that changes your zoning code. You can do that at any time.
Yeah.
We need to have the zoning code changes in place before we start addressing the comp plan, or we don't know what we're addressing in the comp plan.
Okay.
So if we're not gonna change the code, we know how to move forward with that. There's other aspects of it that need to be, what we're trying to do is get our ducks in a row before we get Brown County involved, so we're not, number one, paying them as much. And let the planning commission be more involved in the comprehensive plan that they need to administer.
And the board,
Okay.
and the village of Suamico being more involved in the whole.
Right, as
Yeah.
opposed
And I
to,
think that 5 minutes max.
And we have to invite developers into this conversation, because that's the real customer.
Let's go back. I mean, we've got a couple of things that we have to do on the Planning and Zoning Commission, that commission has to do to bring forward to this board. And then I think there will be other steps that follow. The point that was brought up was 5 minutes. I'm not quite clear, but 5 minutes,
Of open discussion maximum.
is that a line item that we can put?
You can do whatever you want. If there's specific information that you'd like staff to have prepared ahead of time, that would be good for us to know.
Well, it might be, we just have, like what was just brought up. Just a simple thing like that. Oh, okay, well, Brown County is involved. It might be 5 minutes, okay, explain how Brown County is involved, that kind of a thing. What is our function there, and what's our pressure? Otherwise, I'm just afraid what'll end up happening is, I'm done. I'm not gonna
Yep.
keep beating the dead
Well,
horse.
hopefully
5
you're
minutes
paying,
is up.
hopefully you're paying good staff to keep an eye on it, and we'll keep you abreast of the situation.
You shouldn't always lie on you guys, though.
I'd like to just also have somebody look in, Alex, I don't know who looks into this, but with the roundabout on Lineville being going on there by Culver's, everybody's ripping through the parking lot. They turn before Culver's. And I noticed tonight on the way over here, again, I've been over 3 or 4 times, and there's major confusion there. And if there hasn't been accidents, there's going to be, because people are coming out of the Quick Trip and Culver's, and then the dumpster area there is the doors are wide open, you can't see around the corners, and there's gonna be a problem there. We got to get something going on.
Andy's been hopping out of his vehicle and closing that gate every
I was
day.
gonna close it on the way over here tonight.
I've trained our staff that when they come through to work in the morning, to close it in the morning, and it's open.
It was open again.
Every
It's
morning.
5:30.
It's really just it's a nasty area that has no good obvious solution, and hopefully when that roundabout opens at the end of May,
Is that what it's?
that'll be
okay,
relieved.
end of May?
So
All
we're not,
right.
we're not talking
We
too
might be able
long.
to make it that long.
Let's hope, yeah.
So did I have a second on the 5-minute thing?
Be careful out there.
So there was,
Try to dodge
so there was,
that.
So
no,
there's a second on what thing? So am I labeling it budget thing, or what are we?
Open discussion.
Budget thing.
Okay, and then are you leading that discussion, or? what?
Anyone who wants to say anything, I'll be happy to.
I think.
So as of this moment, staff won't prepare anything, but if we
Right.
get direction, we will.
Yeah,
So just an open 5-minute discussion led by trustee Romas and.
Can't wait.
Trustee McKeefery.
yeah. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
The newly elected.
Do we need, so we've got a
Yeah.
motion and so we've got.
We're good.
we
We're
didn't
good.
Vote on it. Okay, very
Just
good.
pull me into.
All right, so, it's a promotion. All right, is there a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting?
I so
Quickly,
moved.
quickly.
Motion to adjourn
All right,
before I get put on anything else.
so trustee McKeefery has motioned to adjourn this evening's
Second.
meeting, and there's a second from trustee Romas. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And those opposed, this meeting and this motion